is there an objective truth?
It's like every mental health disease or whatever, a disease, not a disease, it's, but they're all on a spectrum, so people come different on different things, and you could have somebody who was like on one end who had like no problem at all, but most normal people are somewhere in the middle, so everybody has their own little like foibles. Foibles? Yeah, I'm saying that word. You know, like that they worry about, and then there are just people who are on the other end of the spectrum who really, really worry about it. Do you know what I mean? So it can turn in, so some people it can turn into OCD. So it's doing something. And I feel I can learn from that. If only I could collect them.
The train, boat, house, elephant, fish, follow the brown sign.
But not just any spirituality, I mean the idea of anything that is a meta-narrative, the idea of love or kindness or anything like that. It's just sneaky, you can't disprove or prove love, ever.
I mean, what sense does that make? Well, I'm working on it. The cat doesn't like him. The lady behind me said, "Your cat attacked my dog." And I said, "What do you want me to do about it?" She said, "Stop it." And I said, "I have to work. I can't follow the cat around all day." She said, to make matters worse, he attacked the dog and the garden. And I said, "Well, he's very territorial."
Caught a whiff of Paris. War is ending.
See, now I would think that cigarette would burn down the park.
Oh, maybe it's summer.
That's how I'm wound up. That's what I think. I'd be like, oh, I gotta go back and crush that. But it's your responsibility.
That would be my fault. Would you tell the police if it did happen? Would you dope me in?
Well, then if it did happen, I'd realize how inconsequential the event was.
I don't know, a whole park burning. I mean, it burnt down once, didn't it? This could be its last hurrah. Maybe the council will put more money into it. It could be a good thing, really. Burn it down. They shall rebuild it more beautiful than it never was before.
Well, they should finish, excuse my language, they should finish the dinosaurs.
It's like a very, very sneaky logical argument, the idea of God, or any spirituality.
It was a day when every woman everywhere, like hearts of artichokes. War is ending.
I think it's just when stupid people take hold of facts they don't really understand.
And the husks, they're reconstructed and then kept.
Tra-la in the lock of my hair. Tra-la in the fold of my lip. I mean, what sense does that make?
Well, let's eat lunch first, at the end of the scaffolding. The engines survive intact. When met them, or at least spaced with mental sickness.
Yeah, the dinosaurs do confuse me, I must say. Like, I think the dinosaurs, like, I believe in dinosaurs. I don't think believing in dinosaurs makes you not believe in God at all. I guess though that like Genesis was probably like written after dinosaurs, so people didn't really know they existed. And that's fine. Like, it doesn't worry me. I mean, you'd think if there was like some sort of this is how it was, then they'd include the dinosaurs. But then maybe you'd think it would include loads of other things, like every person who ever lived, or the genetic code to everything, or the exact science. I suppose it is where you draw the line in a story. Where do you include and not include? You can't include everything, because that would just take billions and billions of pages to write, and But then I think dinosaurs were kind of cool, so their exclusion is annoying.
Isn't it exciting when you find out you don't have to do things with a cigarette accompanying? Sunglass wearing players and no place to play.
There's an area of Kentucky where there's only salt. They're kept by war collectors. And so every woman, everywhere.
Errands in the country, they're both epic and simple.
I think there they bring husks or cars from car bombs. They were angry or in a tizzy. You can make something. You can kind of say, well, probably this or probably that, but then you're not in charge of all the facts. So, I mean, both sides are losers. It's like Christians are losers if they try and prove it. I mean, you can't. And Dawkins is a loser for trying to prove that he doesn't, because you just can't. Gravel and a few sparse trees. Collect your thoughts.
Collect my thoughts.
Yes.
Collect my thoughts.
Collected. And so every woman everywhere, one met them. Like, I think God created the world. Whether he did it in 7 days, I mean, or a million days, or
Perhaps he just
years.
thought, well, these shepherds aren't gonna quite get the concept of billions. So I just better explain it in metaphorical terms, because perhaps God is super intellectual and super smart, and so perhaps he would use metaphor.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, if
And
you're
he'd
gonna write
be-
someone's autobiography, right? You don't like write every tiny second of their life. You know, from like the age, you know, minus 9 months to whenever they died. You don't tell every tiny thing. You kind of put it into... It's a montage. It's a nice little story montage. Because ultimately it could always just be a pretense or a game or someone fooling you. You know, just because you've been told that you love your sister and you grew up with her, and you've been told you love God and grew up with God, what's more real? Your love for your sister or your love for God? I mean...
Luckily, a local hero has achieved an unlikely maneuver. I mean, I guess we speak of ideals to have goal to aim for.
Here's a good bit of the riddle. I shouldn't say the engines are tossed. You know, you could argue that, you know, you don't really... Like, my sisters, I don't really love them. It's just because we were brought up together and... You know, I was told that I love them and I've had a closeness to them. But then that's what love is, really. Love, maybe 90% of love is just experience and biological accident, right? What if I simply decide that nothing is an ordeal? The view out the skeleton window of the grey tossed sea and the cloud-laden sky. What do you think? Collect my thoughts.